Hi, welcome to another episode of Zazzle Chat. Today I'm here with Kevin. I'm going to let him explain to you what he does in a tiny bit, but today we're going to take a step back from what we normally do, talk about products and stuff, and we're going to talk about Zazzle as a whole and the Zazzle ecosystem. Compared to other traditional e-commerce sites, you might have noticed Zazzle's a little more complicated. So today we're going to take a step back and dissect those parts and explain how designers kind of work together within our ecosystem to make it what it is and why designers are such an important part of this ecosystem. So, Kevin, let's not hold our designers in suspense. What do you do at Zazzle?
Thank you, Monica. I am the Director of Account Management here at Zazzle, and so we manage all of our makers and work with them to get the right designs from our design community on those products.
Before I ask you what makers are, what's your favorite thing about working at Zazzle?
Working with you.
Oh, well, that was not a setup. That was also kind of awkward. So, Kevin, before we dive into what a maker is, let's take a step back. Customers come to our site and they look at all our millions of products and they have designs on it. It's a combination of makers, designers, brands, and affiliates that are driving the business. So first of all, Zazzle. Zazzle itself is the platform that customers can purchase on. We help with facilitate transaction. We are in charge of customer service. We are in charge of designer relationships and yada, yada, yada. But what you probably didn't know is Zazzle is actually also a maker. So before we jump into why Zazzle is a maker, can you explain to us what a maker is?
Yes, a maker is just simply anyone who physically makes the products. So whether that be printing, etching, laser engraving, leather work. There are many different types of craftsmanship and making that are involved with all of our groups of makers.
So when you purchase a product or your customer purchases a product on Zazzle, they are actually buying the product from a maker. So actually internally, because Zazzle is a maker, I'll let you in on a little secret. We call ourselves Maker One, because we're the first maker. We make most of our invitations, our mugs, etc., etc. But as we continue to expand, we realized that we didn't have the capability to produce all the products or the specialty that a lot of these other companies have. So we've partnered with these external makers that can produce external goods, and when we continue to add products, a lot of them are from external makers. And what Kevin and his team does is they help manage that relationship. So Kevin, there's actually different kinds of makers on our site. Can you maybe explain that?
Yeah, sure. So to your point, Zazzle started as their own maker. And when we realized that there were products that we were interested in selling that either we didn't specialize in or that other people do really well, that we wanted to bring them on board. So whether it be a bicycle or a surfboard or a watch, we wanted to get those makers involved so we could offer those products to our design community and then on to our customers. Yes, so we do have a bunch of different types of makers on the platform. The easiest way to sort of discern between the two is one is a fully customizable product. So your coffee mug, your t-shirt, I can customize it with an image of my cat or a friend or a saying. There's lots of different ways to interpret that product. We also have a whole group of makers who make products that are just configurable. So this is when you're picking a piece of jewelry and you're choosing your pendant and maybe some beads that go along with it, as well as a type of gold, silver, etc. So you're configuring the product.
So this was actually a necklace from Zazzle.
Yes.
And I didn't get a design on it, but I was able to choose the letter.
Exactly, so you're configuring that product. And something that's exciting that's coming down the pike hopefully is we're actually working on ways for those configurable type makers to accept full images so that we could expand the products that currently only accept a monogram or a name or some text and actually use it for a designer image, design pattern, etc. So hopefully we're going to be opening up all of our makers to the designers coming soon.
Yeah, so that is really exciting. Unfortunately, it hasn't launched yet. So we will for sure keep you posted when it does launch, but that's something we're actively working on. So hopefully our designers better understand what makers are when we explain makers. To learn more about makers and the products that they actually make, if you're on the product page, if you go below the fold, we actually have a link to the maker. Each maker has their own profile page, and you can learn about their products, their reviews, and a little bit more about them. So Kevin, can you tell us what a brand is on our site?
Sure. Well, some makers are enough of a brand on their own to sort of stand amongst the other products. So for example, Nike or Zippo is actually a great example. Zippo lighters, I think everybody knows that brand name and can picture it in their head immediately. Thankfully, we have Zippo partnered with Zippo, and they sell customized lighters on our site. It's the first time we've ever done something like this, and the first time they've ever done something like this. So it's a great recognizable brand. It's something a little bit different for our customers and for our designers, but it's something that attracts customers to the site, to the platform, and hopefully we'll sell a lot of Zippo lighters.
Yeah, hopefully. You mentioned we have Nike. So we actually aren't partnering directly with Nike in this case. We are partnering with a wholesaler who buys Nike and decorates on Nike backpacks in this instance, but it's still a Nike branded product. So that is what we mean when it's branded, or it's a brand. So Nike, Zippo, etc. Next up is designers, and that's really you guys that are listening. And Kevin, why don't you tell our designers how important they are to our entire ecosystem and how they really are the backbone of making everything run here?
Yes. I can't express enough how important the designers are to our community because I talk to makers every single day, and we all understand without the designers, they're just blank products. And no one is going to come to Zazzle to buy a blank product. So the design community is integral to the success of not only Zazzle as a whole, but to these makers. And what we want to be a little bit better at going forward is partnering certain designers with certain makers and the design community as a whole with our maker community so that they understand how they really interact with one another and how they sort of drive one another. So one of the key, or I guess one of the best ways I sort of explain Zazzle and our ecosystem is that it's sort of like gears, and one gear turns the other. So you have customers showing up to the platform looking for certain products, and the gears consist of our designers who turn the maker wheel, right? Because without the designers, the makers just have blank products. And then of course you have a small wheel for the brands you talked about, where they're driving customers to certain products. Everybody knows Zippo, everybody knows Nike, everybody knows Hanes. And so with all these different wheels sort of turning one another, each is dependent on the other. So designers out there, please know that we could not do any of this without you, and that your designs specific to each product is very important. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but a design can actually change the use case of a product, which is really important. So we want to make sure that our design community understands not only products, but the makers behind them, where they're coming from, what their intention of the product is, how a design could actually create a whole new product. So these are the types of learnings that we want to get out there and make sure designers understand makers, makers understand designers, that they all understand brands, and as you opened with it, it is complicated. It is a complicated ecosystem, but it is one that works well, especially when all the wheels are chugging along.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why we have these makers who are excited to work with us is because we have the design community with us. For example, we launched Mino shower curtains. I mean, shower curtains are very common. You can get them at Target, any big store, right? But why would you buy but you come to Zazzle so you can get something very specific, very custom. When we launched on a Friday, I remember announcing it on the forums, and then by Monday morning we came back and there had been over 17,000 designs already published. The maker called us and they were so excited that they had so many designs. And I think that really helps continue our narrative as Zazzle, is because we have these designs. Kevin, you mentioned earlier that even a designer's design can change the way a product's used. Do you want to kind of continue to explain that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the most obvious example is basically any paper product we have, where a invitation to a baby shower could also be a death announcement, or
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but
hey, you got to have
Anywhere,
something
yeah.
for that occasion. Another good example, and one that we were actually surprised to sort of find out about, was that we sell customized poker chips. It's a great product for your, family and friends poker games at home. You can have your own set of custom poker chips. It's a really cool concept. But what we found was that a few designers actually put designs that were golf related, and we kind of didn't understand why at first. And the deeper we dug, we found out that people are using poker chips as golf ball markers. So I hit my golf ball onto the tee of the green. I have somebody coming up behind me, so I mark where the ball is and I step away so that the next person can hit. And we just thought that was such a creative use of the product, and it actually changed the use case for it. And now we're seeing more and more of these being purchased. So for all you designers out there, take a look at our poker chips and see if you want to throw a golf themed design on there, because people are using them for this. And that's kind of an interesting use case where one product is being used as for another purpose.
so this is something that as Zazzle, we're looking into amending a lot of our products, because we continue to find that designers are thinking of creative, out of the box ways to design things. So if our product is titled a certain way, don't let that hold you back. We're going to look at those designs, and we get enough critical mass, we can amend it so that those things are searchable. Also, if you have suggestions for things, please continue to kind of let us know on the forums. We do take a look at those, and we can relaunch them as certain different product types. So, don't let us hold you back. A paper is just a piece of paper until you guys design on it. Same for a golf chip or a shower curtain. There's just so much possibility when you guys start thinking creatively. Because our marketplace is so big, a lot of times it doesn't work unless you guys also help promote it. And that's where affiliates come in. So as designers, you guys can be both designers and an affiliate. And affiliates on our site are just people who help drive traffic to Zazzle. So we work with some, larger sites, but individuals can be affiliates as well. And you can also earn a royalty when you start driving traffic. And actually, a lot of our most successful designers are also affiliates, because they can get almost double the royalty by driving traffic and being the designer. And lastly, we have brand partners. Kevin, can you explain how brand partners kind of are different from the other things that we've talked about?
Sure. Brand partners are really just another wheel sort of in my imaginary gears turning one another. And what it does is it's really just another gear that's turning the entire ecosystem and attracting customers to the site. With Disney, Marvel, Warner Brothers, Getty Images, there are some people who just really want a very simple Marvel nightlight for their son or daughter. And that's really all they're interested in, but that type of content really brings people to the site. And then what I think is interesting is we're finding they're starting to look around at, whoa, I came here for a Marvel nightlight, but I didn't even realize all these, awesome designs on these other products. Mm-hmm. And so the design community is really reaping the benefits of these people coming to the site, maybe looking for one thing, but ending up purchasing a lot of the designers' stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah. So as you can tell, Zazzle is a very fun, very exciting ecosystem, and you guys are such an integral part of kind of making that wheel turn, making Zazzle turn. And we love you guys being on our site, and we hope you guys continue to design with us and continue to be creative. Anything else to add?
We literally couldn't do it without you. So keep up the great work, and hopefully we'll get even better this year at getting designers and makers together to make the Zazzle platform even stronger.